If you have ever paid for free material, go ahead and hit that dislike and subscribe. But dislike. I'm going to try to do something a little bit different this time. I don't care about the YouTube algorithm or whatnot. If you paid for free material, go ahead and hit the dislike button so I can see how many people actually paid for free material. And I'm talking about free material that is provided to you that your flight instructor is probably telling you to buy anyway. For example, let's say this right here. The BHAC. You don't need to pay for this. It's provided for free online. You can get all this information for free. So before I get any further, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Ty Jones, CFII, your AeroNerd, bringing you honest experiences, reviews, training tips that'll help you aviate, navigate, and communicate. Now, I have a little rant here because every single time I'm instructing my students, they're always trying to buy these Gleim kits. These, and no, there's nothing against Gleim. They do a great job. King Schools, they do phenomenal. However, I got my licenses without doing any of that. Well, okay, I take that back. I did use Shepherd Air for my FAA writtens because Shepherd Air is just amazing. You do have to jump through like 8 different hoops just to get it. I mean, you have to call them, you have to pay, and then you have to get a code, then you have to sign, you have to log in, and then you have to put in the code that they emailed you into the thing, and then you have to download the app on your iPad or a computer. Yeah. But I mean, once you do all that, it's great. It's a great system. Anyway, my rant today is I'm so sick and tired of students showing up like, hey, I got this new Gleim kit, or I got this new kit or whatever, and I'm like, why did you how much did you pay for that? I don't know, $400, $500, $600. Why? And then when I look at the information or the material that's in their books, it's for free online. So the purpose of this video today, I'm not going to be blabbering on like I normally do. And many of you know me, I like to talk a lot, so I'm just going to try to keep it as short, as simple for this video. I want to give you tips on where to find all this information for free, because aviation training is very expensive. Ground training, flight training, so it'll be better if you can kind of save, you know, a couple of pennies in your pocket here and there. So that's what I'm going to try to do today, and that's the objective of this video. Now, there is one thing that I do recommend that you purchase that is the information from this book is provided for free online. Just go to the FAA website and look up regulations and whatnot. This is the only thing I do recommend you purchase, which is the FAR-AIM. So here's the FAR-AIM. And I'll tell you why. In the FAR-AIM, at least the ASA's version, this is the ASA's version, in the beginning they have a suggested study list. And I'll put a link to the video where I go really in depth in this. You probably see it right now. But in the very beginning, you have this suggested study list. If your check ride is going to be performed by an FAA examiner who's going to be asking you FAA questions, wouldn't it be smart to study what the FAA is recommending for you to study for your check ride? It's all in the suggested study list in the very beginning of the ASA's FAR-AIM book. So again, click that video and I'll show you. I have my 2020s. So here, oh, here it is. Yeah. So 2020. I'll try to get close to the camera here so you can see what I mean. What I was talking about. So this is the suggested. Is this the one that I? Yep. So suggested study list. So this is the suggested study list that you're going to see in the beginning of the ASA's FAR-AIM. I don't think there's another version of the FAR-AIM. I can't remember. There's another version of the FAR-AIM. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But anyway, what I suggested in that video that I did previously was, you see all this? So this is exactly what your FAR-AIM should look like. Exactly, something like that. Obviously this is for my flight instructor, so if you're doing private pilot, go start from here and just work your way down. So here is all of the things that you should be studying, that the FAA is recommending that you study for commercial pilot. So when you look up these regs and after you understand them and you read them, you see these little dotted lines right here. Use those dotted lines as a space where you can write on there what that regulation actually means to you. And you can kind of use that as a bookmark. So that way, this prevents two things. It prevents you from overstudying, because when you're studying for commercial pilot, there's lots of stuff in here that doesn't really apply to you. For private pilots, there's a lot of stuff that here doesn't apply to you. So how can you distinguish? How can you filter out the things that you need to study, what's really relevant to you and what's not? The suggested study list is right here. And that is the only reason why I recommend that you actually purchase this. Well, maybe not this one. That's the old one. Purchase the ASA's FAR AIM, the most up-to-date one, obviously. Now there is other advantages that you can actually purchase this too if you are one of the types of people who need to write in there or write little notes or use a highlighter. Then yes, go ahead and purchase this stuff. But I want to let a lot of students know that this stuff is free. If you're paying for ForeFlight, you can actually download this right on your ForeFlight. It's right there. There's a lot of people that I was shocked that they didn't know this. Well, let's go in the computer right now and I'll go ahead and show you exactly where you can find this stuff.
Okay, so the first thing I want to go over is SkyVector. This is probably going to be the one site you're probably going to be going back to over and over again throughout your aviation career, whether if you're just looking up chart supplement information or airport diagrams, or if you just want to, planning your IFR or your VFR flight plan. So let's go ahead and zoom in. I'm going to go to my area right here down in Florida, and this is literally the sectional for the entire U.S. right here. So I'm going to go in and I can zoom in. So if you go ahead and buy a sectional, you're literally getting the same exact thing as what you're seeing right here. This automatically updates. So you can either go ahead and buy your sectional, or you can just go to SkyVector and have this information provided to you for free. Now, another thing that I usually tell my students is I normally ask them a question about, let's say, what are these little things right here, or what does, what's the significance about this this area right here? It has these little ticks on it. What does that mean? Or why does this right here? We're looking right here at Palatka. See how it has the little shape of the runway in the little circle? This has a little the shape of the runway in that circle, but why does this one look different from this one? Where can you find this information? Of course, the FAA always likes to give you this information right on the source that you're looking at. So obviously you're going to need a sectional, because on the sides of the sectional you're going to have a legend. So obviously, if you're on the world, you can zoom out, and you have all the sectionals literally sewn together. So how can you actually visualize the sectional on SkyVector? Well, if you follow the mouse, if you go right on over here, whatever area you're zoomed into, if you click this right here, this tells you that you're looking at the Jacksonville sectional. So if you go to the store and get the Jacksonville sectional, like right now, this is what you're going to be seeing on the Jacksonville sectional. Now it's only the Jacksonville sectional. So when you go down, look at this. Now here's the legend that you're going to be looking for right here. Another question I normally ask, like say for example another one. Okay, the alert area. So this is what we call the North Practice area right over here, and there's a frequency that we have to tune to in order to listen to the other aviators that are in this area. So how do you find the frequency that is on here? Do you just tune to whatever frequency because that's what your flight instructor says, or are you going to actually verify this information somewhere? So where can you verify this? So let's look at A293, Alpha 293. You look on the bottom of the sectional. Oops, there we go. Bottom of the sectional, and we find alert area. Let's see, alert area. Where is the alert area? There we go. Alert area right here, 293, up to 4,000 feet. There's the times, and there's the frequency right here, 12285. So there's a lot of information that is just supplied to you right here on the the sectional legend. We zoom in here, we find out a little bit more information. If we go up here, we know exactly what the MEFs mean. It has a little description of how the FAA got those figures. Another thing I want to give you another tip and trick on SkyVector and why I always use it all the time. And let me go back to World VFR. So this is a VFR chart. If you want to see if you're an instrument rated pilot, you just go ahead and hit World Low, and then bam, you have the entire. And it's the same thing. And another great feature about the SkyVector 2 is you can also get weather information too right up on here. You go up here to layers, and let's go ahead and go to the weather radar, hit play, and then there we go. You can zoom out and you can see the weather, the little weather radar. Well, there's really not much going on right now, as you can see. Hold on, let me see. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better. So yeah, you can definitely see some weather going on right here. You can also activate the TFRs. Let's see, go over here to, here's METARs. Here's some TAF information. You can type in, you can activate the TFRs that are going on. So as you can see, the SkyVector is coming alive. You can just hover over, and you can see the METAR information right there instead of going to AWC. We'll go to AWC here in a minute. But I just wanted to give you this little tip and trick right here. Let me go ahead and get rid of my Windows thing. I don't know why that's there. We go. Okay. So here's, as you can see, SkyVector is coming alive a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Now I want to, let's say I want to do a cross country. You know, let's say I want to go to Ormond to Gainesville. So I'll go up here to flight plan. I'll go ahead and hit, let's see, departure, Ormond, and I want to go to Gainesville. Oh, there it goes. It automatically put it in there. So let's go ahead and hit X. So it's a straight line. All I got to do is click and drag this over. Now when I release the mouse, it's going to have a little window right here. So since I want to have Flagler as my first nav point, you just click plan next to Flagler, which is right there. And notice if you hover over Flagler, you can actually see the airport diagram and all the other information if you're doing an IFR. But anyway, I'm gonna hit plan, and that locks that in. And notice it gives me the distance, the heading, and everything's right there. I'm gonna go ahead and continue my next nav point, which is these power lines right here. Once I release the mouse over there. Oops, let me do this again. This is like glitching on me. There we go. Alright, so on this point, if you want to have a GPS nav point, you don't want to hit this one, because what it's thinking is, since Frontier right here is the closest spot where you release the mouse, it thinks that you want to click it there. So that's why it's here on the top, or the next intersection right here. But I don't want to go to the intersection. I want to, this is my nav point that I actually want to plan. So in that case, you hit the GPS point right here, which is this right here. And then again, it tells you the distance for whatever nav point that you put, as well as the heading. So my next nav point is going to be Palatka. Release the mouse, Palatka. Next is going to be Melrose. Let's see, there's Melrose right here. It's kind of hard to see if you're ever flying, unless you're like right on top of it. But anyway, plan. And then from there, you got a straight shot to Gainesville. Now, Gainesville, I want a little bit more information on Gainesville. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Gainesville, and then look, I can actually click Gainesville, the little top little link here. Just give it a second. There we go. Here's all the information on Gainesville. This is kind of similar to AirNav. It's a really good website if you want to learn, if you want to see all this information, plus like gas prices and all that good stuff. But for this one, this is one that gives you all the information. It gives you the airport diagram right here. So there's that, and that's all is going to be up to date too. Notice the dates here on the side. So 25 March all the way to 22 April. Today is the 15th, I want to say. Today is the 17th. Today's the 17th. So this is always going to be accurate. So you don't really have to pay for, you know, updated information on here. So going back, let me go ahead and go back here. Another thing too, if you just hover the mouse, here is the chart supplement information of everything you need to know right here. But so you don't even need to buy a chart supplement. All this stuff is right here for free. Instrument pilots, you go down here, if you want to know the RNAV or the minimums or whatever, all of that good stuff is going to be right here. I want to get the RNAV for you know, runway 11. You click that, bam, it's right there. And this is also going to be up to date all the time too. So going back, so this is just a little glimpse of what SkyVector has to offer. You can actually get a you can actually start a profile, so you can put in your aircraft information, your performance information, and then you can go to nav log, and then this will tell you exactly, you know, how long it's going to take you to get there, the distance, all that good stuff, once you plug in your information from your aircraft performance. It's kind of similar to ForeFlight, but obviously ForeFlight is going to be a lot more in depth. But this is what you're going to be getting from SkyVector. So I highly recommend if you visit this website. If you're going to be doing your cross-country planning, or you just want to you know, scour your sectional chart in your area and just learn what's around the area, you know, your restricted areas. You know, how high are your restricted areas? Let's say we have a prohibited area right over here somewhere, right here, P50. Okay, well, can you fly through that at you know, 4,000 feet? Can you fly right over this? I don't know. Well, in order to find that out, we'll go to Jacksonville. We'll click Jacksonville up there. We'll come down here to the very bottom, and we'll find P50. Let's see, P50. Let me zoom in here. Zoom in. Where's P50? There it is. P50 right there. So the information about this is it is continuous. It never closes, but it goes up to, but not including 3,000 feet. So we can actually fly right over P50 at 4,000 feet, 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet, whatever, as long as we're not below 3,000 feet. So there's a lot of great information on these sectionals that a lot of people aren't really aware of. So definitely check out SkyVector. It'll definitely be a great benefit to you in your training. One last thing before we go to the next site is, let's say you do have a sectional and you go to the legend, and there's some things on the legend, there's some symbologies on these charts that are not on the sectional charts of legend. So where can you find that? Where can you find a really in-depth information on what every single symbology on this chart is? Where can I find that information? Well, just Google FAA Aeronautical Chart chart users guide, and this is what you're going to come up with. You click the very first one right here, and here is a nice 131 page PDF document of every single thing that's in it, every single thing that's on the aeronautical chart, on the VFR sectional, in depth. I'm just scrolling down through here, and it explains every single thing. I mean, there's 131 pages of just legend and great information. So I definitely highly recommend you scour through this, and you can definitely learn a lot that the sectional does not have to offer. So that's definitely what I would recommend. The IFR, they have another one for the IFR chart too, so definitely check that one out. Next, we're going to go into the PHAC. So again, you don't really need to buy the PHAC, because again, you just Google PHAC, FAA PHAC, and this is what you click the first link, you end up right here, you click this, or you can click each chapter, whichever chapter you want, whichever you want, and wait for it to load, and here it is. There is the entire PHAC right there. You can literally download this too, and if you have Adobe PDF, you can highlight stuff, you can mark stuff, just like how you would be able to if you have it, have the hard copy. So this is the PHAC. Another thing I want to get into too is the aerodynamics. So for those who really want to go in depth in aerodynamics, what I highly recommend you look at is the aerodynamics for Aviators. Now, a lot of flight instructors that I know, they recommend going to Amazon or whatever and buying the book. Again, you don't have to buy it. Don't pay for free material. Google it, and again, the very first thing that comes up, aerodynamics for naval aviators, PDF. Here it is. Here's the entire thing for free. Now, this is really in depth. There's some chapters in here that I'm just like, what in the world? I gotta be like a engineer or something to I gotta look up words in the dictionary on some of these paragraphs that I'm reading, because I have no idea what they're talking about in some of these chapters. But this really does go really in depth, and I guarantee you, if you commercial pilots out there, when your DP asks you about where to reference stuff from Aerodynamics, and you mention this book, I guarantee you they will be very impressed. So definitely check this book out. Another one that is free is the chart supplement. Now, we did see this in the SkyVector, but if you want to have print out page by page chart supplement, you can go here. But I think this is kind of unnecessary because it's right there in SkyVector. So anyway, but it's all right here too. Another one that I was talking about earlier is AirNav. AirNav is, you can find information about, let's say, for like gas prices or whatnot. So let's say, I don't know, Key West. So let's look up Key West Airport, and here's all the information on Key West Airport. Kind of similar to what you'll find in SkyVector. It has all the frequencies and all that good stuff. But when you go down to the bottom, you actually get updated fuel prices. If the airport has multiple FBOs, you can decide which FBO you want to stop at to get fuel, whichever one has the cheapest. Now, ForeFlight has this information too, but of course you got to pay for ForeFlight. And again, this is free. So again, another free source. Now let's go over to the weather. Now, everybody hopefully has seen this at least once in their training. This is where you're going to get all your winds aloft information. For example, you go to forecast, winds, and temps, and you can, since I'm in Florida, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here, and I'm going to click this area right here. So I'm going to click here, and here's all the winds aloft for, let's see, Jacksonville, Miami, all this good stuff. So this is where you're going to find all that information right there. Aviation Weather Center, I'm probably going to do a different tutorial on this because there is a lot of information just jam-packed in this website. But this is another one that I highly recommend you definitely get familiar with before your check ride. And then next, speaking of weather, anything that you want to know about weather in aviation, Advisory Circular 00-6. This is going to be, this explains every single thing in weather for aviation. Definitely check this out. It is a long advisory circular, but it explains everything. I mean everything about weather and how it works and everything like that. So if you have any questions on weather, check this advisory circular out, AC00-6 Bravo. Now, when you're talking about trying to read depiction charts or anything like that, or METARs or TAFs, and you want to get legends, it's kind of similar to what we were looking at over here on this. See how it has all these legends and what all this stuff means. For weather, for TAFs, I recommend Advisory Circular 00-45. So Google that one, 0045. Click the very first one, and this is another long advisory circular. But if you have any questions on what symbology means in the TAFs and the METARs or anything like that, all this is going to be right here. Let me kind of go down a little bit, because this again, it's another. There we go. It's a perfect example. So, what does all this mean? And then it goes in depth. It gives you in-depth information of all of this stuff. So again, this is 00-45 hotel at the moment. So this is the latest one. When it updates, obviously it's from the FAA website. They will obviously give you the latest and greatest information. But that is just a small example of what I mean by don't buy material that is provided to you for free. All this stuff is here for you. Everything. The PHAC, everything is right here. SkyVector, again. Get familiar with this. Get familiar with the Aviation Weather Center, and just get familiar with all the information that's provided to you for free.
Okay, so that wraps up today's video. I hope you guys gained something from this. If you have any suggestions, questions, comments, or concerns, please put them in the comments below. Go ahead and visit my website, www.aeronerdaviation.com, if you want to have more content just like this. But until the next video, I always want you guys to keep flying, keep learning and always have fun. That's the most important. Have fun. If you're not having fun while you're flying, you're doing something wrong. I'm sorry, you're doing something wrong. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have ever been driving somewhere when you're not in a rush and you can get there on time, no problem, but when you are in a rush, it seems like you always get stuck behind that slowest driver ever. If you have ever paid for stock on Dogecoin and then the stock is going back down and then you want to shoot yourself because, like, crap, I could have made like $80,000. Okay. If you have ever paid for Whew, coronavirus. Oh my gosh. That's not going in the video. Don't judge me.